Good evening, and this is the Fortean Slip Daily Dose, episode 44. Tonight, Fred and I will be talking about genetic doping in sports. Something right up Fred's alley. In case anybody doesn't know, when I brought Fred on, Fred is like the Hulk. He's not just like the Hulk, he's like both sides of the Hulk. Because Fred's like a really intelligent guy, so he's kind of like Bruce Banner. And he's kind of mild-mannered. He probably wouldn't fucking hurt anybody. Maybe.
No.
And then
maybe.
you see his fucking arms. Now, if I met Fred and he shook my hand, I'd be afraid if he sneezed. And
I've had a few of those interesting, awkward moments when people are like, "You drew that? You drew that? You drew that?" And I'm like, "Yeah. You don't look like an art. You read comic books? Really? I'm like, yeah, I do."
Yeah, Fred is a version of the Hulk.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, that's a big compliment. I would have taken that or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those are my two idols.
But so I came across this article.
Yep.
And I had thrown it at Fred about genetic doping. Now we, I don't know that we all have heard about, but I know I myself have heard of blood doping and just doping in general in sports. Steroids, these other types of HGH, growth hormones, different shit that athletes are trying to use to better themselves or to go above and beyond their capabilities physically.
Yep.
Now, Fred's had some experience in this area because he's into bodybuilding.
Yep, I've been in and out of bodybuilding and powerlifting. It started with football and then progressed with that, and now it's more about just trying to have a healthier life, living the weightlifting dream without hurting myself too much. But like the thing that interests me and the thing that you talk about a lot is how it affects the genes and stuff, the way that steroids can affect genes. And how people don't have like an entire, like the full view of what it is that they take.
Right. Yeah. And
like you mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
They're just taking whatever. And you get a lot of people who are just grabbing. Hey, this is steroids. Well, what am I taking? Oh, it's this.
Well, it's crazy because, like, in the conspiracy world, and I guess in like the government world, they're always talking about how, they're ahead of us by like 10 years, by 2 decades, by 35 years. So if we're getting it now in mainstream public, it means the government and the military's had it for decades. It's kind of like that with gene therapy and doping and the type of drugs that you can take. The stuff that we're seeing on the market for, the general practitioners, and what I mean are the guys that aren't making a living at this but want to look good. That stuff that they're getting now has been developed for decades. Like, one of the big things that was on the market years ago was insulin. Like, insulin is a diabetic drug, but a lot of bodybuilders and strength athletes use this to help increase their muscle mass.
Right, and we're reaching a point where that type of delivery, the ability for the athlete to be able to give himself not so much the super soldier formula, not so much the Captain America motherfucker formula, but they'll be able to, from the looks of it, from what I read in this article, it works very similar to I was trying to think of the method that they had used it for, but anyway, they use viruses, that they strip out, and then they put in whatever they want for genetic material to do whatever. Like, they'll have the virus put in something that'll make the muscles stronger, or make the muscles retain more water, or whatever they need to do to make
it's more refined.
right. And this stuff is going to get to a point where, the athlete will be able to just, take an injection and it will change his or her whole genetic structure. Like at this
We're
point,
getting to that point, yeah.
At this point, it's just we can inject it and we can incur changes on the cellular level.
Yeah, and I mean, like, of course, this kind of technology is going to be developed to help, the average man and everyone else. But it's those elite athletes that want that extra edge that I think it'll definitely affect them. I mean, if you're given the choice, one injection, sure, it's going to change you genetically, but it's going to change you to the point where you can physically do everything that you want to do. I mean, it's pretty tempting.
Yeah.
Well, they said recently, they've said it many times over the years, if you they ask elite athletes, if you were given a drug today that would kill you in 5 years, but you would win your respective sport, whether it be, a championship or a gold medal, would you do it? And I don't know the exact number, but I know it was high up there.
Well, they're driven, 70, and they're driven to win.
Yep.
And hey, I'm of the school. Hey, I don't really give a shit. If baseball players and football players who are, not baseball players as much as football players, but they're all beating the shit out of their bodies.
Yes.
They're all dedicating themselves to doing one thing. You get a pitcher who throws all the fucking time, destroying his arm, destroying his shoulder, just constantly just ripping that shit up. Now,
and it's not just the muscles; it's the tendons too.
And it's everything. And these, I'm just of the school at this point. Hey, if they can fucking take something that makes them hit fucking monster home runs, have at it. What the fuck? What do I care?
True enough.
Bust those fucking records. Who gives a shit what Babe Ruth did while he was smoking cigarettes and being a fat ass?
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter, and I think a more transparent, being more open about it, and people understanding it, getting the medical community to support this. These athletes are going to do it no matter what.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
When we're talking about gene doping, and we're talking about changing the actual genes, the molecules in your body, so I mean it's undetectable in any way by current standards. I mean, that's going to wreak havoc. I think that
how are they going to fucking police that?
That's what I mean. I think that's ultimately what will happen is that will change sports forever, and they'll have to be more open because, you're dealing with people that already have a genetic advantage who are then having an advantage on top of that.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that it's just across the board. Okay, if you're doing this, you're out. If you're doing this, you're out. And a lot of it is just supplements. Like I've looked into some of it, and some of it's just fucking supplements.
Yeah, like you can't have cough syrups, and you can't have caffeine, and you can't have things that any other person could enjoy. It just seems a little bit ridiculous because you don't know what kind of ingredients are in there and how they're going to react in your testing.
Yeah, because normal people don't drink coffee.
Well, that's right. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but I drink tea.
I fucking drink like 4 pots of fucking coffee a day.
Damn.
I'm horrible. I'm horrible. No, I don't drink that much coffee, but I drink a lot of coffee every day. And I mean, hey, we're a fucking stimulated nation.
We are.
And if it isn't fucking coffee, it's, drugs. People are, they're drugged to make them feel better. You got anxiety, here's a pill. This will fix the problem.
Can't sleep, here's a pill.
Yeah, you can't sleep, here's a pill. You get depression, oh, wait, here's a pill. Pretty soon, from the looks of the research, here's some mushrooms for your depression.
Yeah. boom.
But
Hey, I think that's a much better ride
right,
potentially.
yes, I think maybe that might be
Government
the
will
better
fuck
way
it
to
up
go.
some way though.
But
Yeah.
however, we live in this society of, you got a problem? Here's the cure all. Here's the fix.
Yeah,
Here's
we get it can. Yeah.
here's the one thing that can make it all better. But if you're an athlete, you have to be stripped of all that. You have to be completely pure. You have to
And it
be.
just doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't think I'll ever understand it. And I don't ultimately give a shit, Fred. Like I used to be
No.
I used to be a huge baseball fan. Back in the day, I don't know if you're an American baseball fan at all or ever were.
I've watched quite a few. I've checked out a few live Blue Jays games
Yeah.
in Toronto.
Okay. Now, back in the day, in the 80s, I used to pay attention to, and I was always considered a traitor up here in Maine because Maine is supposed to be a Boston. Uh,
Not a suburb,
we're
but
supposed to be Boston fans.
yeah. So the Red Sox. Did I
Um,
get that right?
right, like the Boston Red Sox, like the Patriots,
The
the
Bruins, yeah,
Bruins.
the
Yeah,
New
those are
England, yeah,
supposed to be the sports teams that you're
the
supposed
Celtics,
to
yeah.
follow up here. So, but at that point in time, I was a huge fan of Dwight Gooden, who was on the
Okay,
New York Mets,
yep,
and I also liked Darryl Strawberry quite a bit, and they were together on
yeah.
that team.
The hard luck
That was
case,
also around the same time that Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire were both coming up on the Oakland A's.
the Bash Brothers, or I think that's
Yes,
what they were called. I see.
correct.
I started paying attention when baseball, and it's funny. It was when Mark McGuire and Sosa were smacking those dingers, and that's when I started getting interested in baseball again and watching them and thinking, my goodness, like I know these gentlemen are not um, playing with an even deck, let's say. And it was just, it was not funny as in, ha ha, I feel bad for these guys. Like, I mean, I was never as talented as either gentleman, but if you play competitive sports, anybody knows the drive, like you said, to win. And both those guys, like, I mean, they were driven, and it was hard watching that inquiry they had, or whatever you guys call it in the States, where they had that jury and they were asking him all those questions, and Mark McGuire's pleading the fifth with his neck the size of a paint can. It's like, yeah,
Oh yeah, and if you look at older pictures of him,
yeah,
it's very obvious that something went on.
and it's not even the musculature. That alone is not alarming, but telltale. It's in joints. It's in the size of a person's hands. It's in the size of just their overall skeletal structure. I mean, yeah, when you're taking steroids, and like steroids, it's hard because, like, I mean, there's things like testosterone, which is naturally occurring in the body, and if you're taking testosterone or like a TRT, testosterone replacement therapy,
Or
that's
even like DHEA, which is a testosterone precursor.
ah, wow, yes, that was big back in the day,
It
and
still
it's
is.
still big, yes, but I remember when it was wasn't.
The literature on DHEA is very inconclusive.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. A lot
Well,
of people believe DHEA to be the fountain of youth drug
yes.
because it's a precursor to everything.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
that's the thing. Like originally steroids and all that kind of stuff were developed to help, of course, injuries. I mean, if you've injured your knee, if you're taking steroids or whatever prescription that they use to increase the muscle mass, increase the ligament strength, that's what's going to happen. If you're an average guy and you injure yourself, chances are, if it's bad enough, you are going to be prescribed or given some sort of gene therapy, and nothing wrong with that. And it's weird that, like, a professional athlete who has to make his living, like, I mean, they're not glorified horse race like horses or thoroughbreds, but they make their living off their body.
yeah.
I wake up with a sore back. It just means, I have to go through my day with a little bit of pain. I mean, that can mean, loss of millions, loss of,
Yeah. They wake up with a
financial
sore.
security.
They wake up with a sore back. They don't make the catch that day.
Yeah.
You know, or they don't get the yardage that they need to get that bonus or
Yeah.
whatever. Hey, we've all seen Any Given Sunday.
Yes.
You know what
That's
I'm
good.
you know what I'm saying, Fred.
Oh,
You gotta look next to that guy next to you and see if he's willing to go that inch with you.
yep.
You got to have your head on a swivel.
Oh, nice.
So
I enjoyed that movie. Yeah, it was
it's
good.
a
I like.
fucking good movie. It really is. As much as it might be, a little over dramatized, it's a great flick.
The thing I
But
enjoyed most was the way Diaz and Pacino. Yeah, that was a good interplay between them.
yeah, and here's the thing. So we're looking at genetic doping, doping on the genetic level. But it's not
Yep.
just that at this point. I mean, look at what it all ultimately boils down to. And you just talked about it. You really did.
Yeah.
And without even knowing that you had talked about it, I think you talked about it. You said they're not thoroughbreds,
No.
but they might be someday.
Oh, it's a weird kind of like,
It's
what does the
getting to
future
a
hold?
point. It's getting to a point where that we are understanding genetic makeup of the
Mm-hmm.
human the human genome far better every single day. And
Yep.
eventually they are going to be able to genetically engineer a fucking baseball player or a football
Oh yeah.
player or
Or
whatever.
yep.
It's going to happen. Whether or not it's right or it's good for humanity, I don't fucking know. I honestly don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's a tough one to
it's
answer.
on its fucking way. And this stuff that we're seeing now, this genetic doping, is about as close as we get to what I right now, as far as I can see, as fucking Captain America, as that fucking super serum, the super soldier
Yep.
serum. I mean, this stuff is going to be able to, on a dime, make athletes better. Not like with steroids, where you do it and then it's over
Harmful
time.
chemicals.
You have
Yep.
to work out. You have to utilize what it gives you.
Yep. You
This
just
is
wake up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you're Captain America every day.
yeah. It just this with this new type of thing, it's not like that, and that's scary.
No. Yeah.
So I don't know what to think of it as far as where I want it all to go. I have no problem with athletes wanting to make themselves better, and hey, it's your body.
Yep.
I feel the same way about drug use.
For sure.
It's your fucking body. If you want to, take heroin, you want to take fucking pills, whatever the fuck you want to do, that you're a big person, you're an adult, that's your fucking choice. I think it's not the right choice, but it's your choice. And we're not going to be, and like we were just talking about with doping in sports or whatever in sports, we're not going to stop it anyway.
No. It'll go on the black market behind the scenes, and the health risks will increase.
We're better
Uh,
off just educating people.
yeah. The more
Educate.
information and knowledge you have.
Yep, educate, inform, and just let the chips fall where they may. We're adults, you know. You make this stuff illegal, and if I think prohibition showed us that in the biggest way. Prohibition in America showed that huge. It created the mafia.
Yeah, it created a whole job force of criminals.
Yeah. So I mean I don't know. Like I said, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what it's going to become, but this shit's coming, and we are looking at it straight dead in the fucking face in our lifetime.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Sorry to cut you off there, Fred. Tonight,
No, that's true.
tonight is a double shot for me. I'm doing 2 recordings, one right after the other. We go from this into Down the Rabbit Hole with David Baddorf, both of which will be posted on April the 8th. For those of you who don't know, my birthday. This has been episode 44 of the Fortean Slip Daily Dose. If you like this shit, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. If you do, Fred may come to your house and rip your fucking arms off. That is possible.
I'll definitely knock hard.